My mom lied to me recently. My mom, I love her, but she's a liar. Let's talk about it. My mom took that 23andMe, and then she called me up, and she's like, I just took the 23andMe, and turns out you're Jewish. Talk about it on stage. You're Jewish. Talk about it. Which was a little eager. And then also, I called up all my siblings. I'm like, you guys hear about us being Jewish? And they were like, no. And I was like, uh-oh. And then I got this text from my mom, and she said, just looked up my 24andMe, and we are not Jewish. Sad face. Yeah, sad face, sad face. I don't know how I got this wrong. All right. And then 30 seconds later, she texts me, I lied. I wanted you to have more confidence when you perform, and since a lot of comedians are Jewish, I told that. I'm a terrible person and mother. Which is such a Jewish mom thing to say, right? She nailed it. She totally nailed it. I know you guys are thinking, you're like, well, you could be Jewish on your dad's side. My dad got the form for the 23andMe, and he was like, Caitlin, they wanted my email. I don't think so. I'm like, yeah, Dad, they also want your genetic information. No, keep that email under wraps. That's smart, Pops. Yeah, that's what they're after. I did not grow up Jewish, unfortunately. If you can't tell from my aura of sexlessness, I grew up Catholic. Yeah. I don't practice Catholicism anymore, but I like to say that I'm culturally Catholic, which just means that when bad things happen to me, I blame myself. Yeah. Like earlier today, I stubbed my toe really bad, and I was like, oh, God damn it, that's what you get for wearing mascara. Ah, you stupid whore. Ah, damn it. You got me. It's a good one. Religion's fun. This always surprises me when I know someone's religious and they tell me, when they say to me, can you believe this weather? That always throws me for a loop. I'm like, didn't we make up this sky monster to explain the weather? Like, we didn't create Zeus because we were like, you know what we need? More fun stories about rape, you know? Honestly, he's like known as the god of like lightning and thunder, but that side gig, it was mostly rape. If you read. I do think that we should be a little bit more understanding, Tessa touched on this subject, about people, of their beliefs. I feel like this comes up a lot. A lot of dudes will come up to me, friends of mine, will be like, I like this chick, Caitlin, but she's into rocks, you know? She's into horoscopes. And I'm like, yeah, and you're into Rick and Morty, so why don't you shut the fuck up? All right? It's all useless nonsense until we die, okay? So let people have what they have, okay? I don't know. That always annoys me. My roommate is into horoscopes. She's great. But she's like, I stopped asking guys what their signs are on dates because they'd get me such shit for it. And I'm like, well, how do you find out, like, what do you do now? She's like, well, now when I'm on dates, I ask them what their birthday is. And I'm like, and how do they respond to that? She's like, well, they usually say, are you into horoscopes? And then I say, no, I'm just super into birthdays. I'm like, that's way weirder, Morgan. That's creepy. I write them down on little papers. I put them under my pillow at night. Like, what? Keep that to yourself, Morgan. Sometimes our beliefs can be in people. That can go too far, right? I found this out recently. When after the Revolutionary War, the founding fathers turned to George Washington and said, so, do you want to be king? Which has got to be like the most frustrating thing for George Washington, right? Like, he's like, do you guys not understand what we've been doing here? Or, I don't know, we just like hanging out with you. And I don't know, King George has a good ring to it. I don't know why. Sounds familiar to me for some reason. I've been waist deep in this feminist wave we've all been surfing. Anybody else? Anybody else into it? Woo! I'm into it. Probably too into it. I've been putting everything in the feminist context and ruining a lot of stuff for myself. Most recently, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, ruined that for myself. Beauty and the Beast, the moral of that story is, if you're a hot guy, the rules, they don't really apply. All right? Gaston's hot, he gets away with shit. The Beast is hot, and then he's mean to an ugly woman, and then he has to be nice to the hottest woman in town. How is that punishment? That's like if you found your kid like smoking like cigarettes, and you were like, now you have to smoke this entire pack of beer. You're like, I don't understand that's teaching. I guess, I mean, the real moral of the story is supposed to be like, don't judge a book by its cover. Unless it's a lady book, okay? In which case, she's ugly and she's reading. She's a witch, burn her. Am I right? That's a nightmare. It did remind me of the disparity between looks for men and women. That's apparent. You know, you live in Chicago, right? Right? I mean, the women here are gorgeous, and the men, they're definitely here, and they're present, and there's something to be said for that. I used to hold Seth Rogen personally responsible for this. I used to be like, he's the one that gave all these guys this idea. They deserve a Katherine Heigl to give them a blowjob because they cut back on their weed and video games. But it's not his fault. You're right. It's not his fault. Because it's been going on forever, right? We can look to literature, you know, when I was thinking about it. You know, like Quasimodo, right? Phantom of the Opera. I mean, these guys, they weren't going for the village hag, okay? They were going for top tier women. I don't know. I just feel like if you actually talk to Quasimodo, he'd be like, yeah, no one's ever shown me any kind of physical affection, but like no fat chicks, am I right, guys? Like fuck you, Quasimodo, you stupid incel. I don't know. Yeah, he actually wasn't a hunchback. He just got that from being on the computer writing terrible things about women all the time. That's what it's from. Yeah, little known fact. I do think it's getting better. We've stopped doing a couple terrible things. Remember in the 90s when a man was interested in a larger woman, he was called a chubby chaser? Remember when we just let that fly for a while? And then when a woman was interested in a larger man, she was called every single wife in every sitcom ever. So it's like, that's wild. So it's definitely gotten better. I do have a few PSAs, though, some facts I found out that I'm going to share with you guys about feminism. Found this out. This is just a fun fact. It turns out we got the right, ladies, to abortions before we got the right to credit cards. That's a fun fact, right? That's great. Because men were like, yeah, sure, you can terminate a pregnancy, but women be shopping. Am I right, man? I mean, a child is one thing, but credit, it's a long-term commitment, ladies. So terrible. I'll leave you guys on one last feminist PSA before I get out of here. Just a word I think we can all stop using. Can we stop using the word pantsuit? Just do me a flavor. Stop using it. We got too many words as it is, frankly. You don't need the word pantsuit, right? If a man's wearing a suit, it's a suit. If a woman's wearing a suit, it's a suit, right? We don't need another word for it. Also, arguably, every suit is a pantsuit, right? A suit without pants is actually called a lawsuit, all right, guys? So just remember that. Keep them on, all right? Don't get those lawsuits, all right? I've been Caitlin Chekarowski. You guys have been great. Thank you so much. You can collect me.